Good morning, everybody. If you can go ahead and take a seat, please, in between the transitions to this session. I'm delighted to chair this session because its strategic nature. So both by the drive of the World Government Summit and DP World, they looked at East Africa, and it was germinated here a dozen years ago, as the chairman knows, to look at that region as a strategic outpost for development and growth as well. Again, often overlooked in the global economy is that this is a market of better than 500 million consumers, with Ethiopia at the heart of it, with a consuming base of 130 million, growth of 9% over the last 20 years. We're delighted to have the President of Somaliland, who was elected to office in December with a full mandate of 64%, and of course the chairman of DP World, who has made a commitment to East Africa and Somaliland. I would say that it was this move by DP World that helped plant a flag for development, which is a priority for the president. So I'd like to start in, Mr. President, on the Berbera port, the strategic nature sitting as a crossroads for the Middle East, East Africa, and the links to Asia. We know the disruption to the Gulf of Aden over the last 2 years. What has it meant, that $400 million investment by DP World, to economic growth, what it represents to GDP, your income for foreign investment and receipts as a result of the port? Because a lot of people don't understand what actually has been developed on the ground. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Before I answer the question, I want to tell the audience I'm from Somaliland, one of the governments in the future. Berbera Port is the most famous port in the Red Sea. It's a very old port, and DP World has invested $400 million in Berbera Port. It was transformative. That investment was transformative. It has modernized the port. It has increased the capacity of the port, and now it became a very important port that can give service to the to most of the African countries that have no port. Our main customer and neighbor and our friendly country is Ethiopia, which is more than 140 million population. The Berbera will give a service to Ethiopia. Now, I expect we have to finalize our transit and trade agreements with Ethiopia soon, inshallah.
Good. Is that something you think you can get done within your first year in office, which would conclude in December 2025? Because everybody's been looking to see if you can get that agreement unlocked, and what it would do for development and trade for Ethiopia as well.
My plan is to finalize before the end of the year.
That's quite significant. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I remember discussing this port with you going back 10 years ago and planting a flag, if you will, in Eastern Africa. It's not your first foray there. How does Berbera rate in all the operations you have in nearly 80 countries around the world in terms of modernization, the intelligent infrastructure, the strategic nature of how it can serve as a crossroads? Because you can make comparisons to what you have in Latin America, Far East Asia, Europe, of course, and the United States. What's the modernization that's actually been undertaken?
Thank you. First of all, I am happy to attend the Government Summit, and I'm honored with the President, whom in short notice came, and he told me I'd been only a few days in the office, and we told him, well, I think it's a good audience, they need to listen to you as a new President. We did a study on Ethiopia. Ethiopia has a double-digit growth in their economy. It's a country of over 100 million people. And the study shows that Ethiopia needs at least 5 ports to cope with the growth that they're going to see in their country. And we selected Berbera for many reasons. First of all, it's an old port. It has been in existence before any ports, in fact, the Red Sea. Unfortunately, it was ignored, but we worked with the government and they encouraged us. We invested in it. Somaliland is not a small country. They have over 4 million people and a lot of businessmen and traders. And we are looking forward for the economic corridor between Ethiopia and, of course, Somaliland, where the President just mentioned. I hope it could be done as soon as possible. This agreement will facilitate trade between both countries. Somaliland is very close to the main distribution area in Ethiopia, which is Dir Dawa, which is the main logistic area. And so the relation between the countries are being very good, and many Somaliland people live in Ethiopia, and Ethiopia looks with positive attitude toward Somaliland. We definitely found an opportunity. We developed the port. Immediately, cargo started to come. We are able to handle any size of vessels in Berbera. There is another stage of expansion if needed. The government also, His Excellency the President, provided land for industries. We have already factories under construction, and there are more factories coming to that place. It has a unique situation whereby they're very close to Ethiopia. It has also a unique situation where they are on the maritime routes that connect India, Far East, all the way through the Suez Canal. So it's a very strategic location, but also for business, we have been very happy with the growth of the business.
Good. I'd like to have the strategic input, Chairman, on why the UAE, I like to say UAE Inc., decided to go into Somaliland, because you were in there before anybody else was even thinking about it. So what was the strategic decision, the geopolitical, geoeconomic decision to say, you know what, we can make this work. This country is not recognized, and I want to talk to the President officially with global recognition for statehood. But you took a risk, and it's paying off dividends. But why?
Let me tell you, when we invest in any country, we don't look at any political motive or strategic even. Strategy is not important for us. What's important for us is, can I develop a business? Can I make companies benefit as shipping line to use this location? Can this location become profitable operation? This is very important, crucial. And we look at the growth of the GDP. If the GDP is growing, then that means the cargo will grow. So that is the reason why. Second, traditionally, business from Africa is very important for us. And for many, many centuries. In fact, when you look at Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, and Ethiopia, they are main traders of Dubai for a long time. A lot of re-export goes to those countries. So it's natural that we set up there. And I tell you, when we set up, immediately companies from Dubai also and Abu Dhabi set up there to provide services. So it is part of us really encouraging and strengthening our trading relation with Africa.
Great. Mr. President, I don't want to put you on the spot here, because it's a very strategic time for Somaliland. Some would not want to be on the radar of President Trump, especially allies with tariffs, and I want to address that with the chairman in the next question. But this new administration is talking about recognition for Somaliland, and I'm curious, what strings are attached? What do you need to provide to the U.S. administration? But I think the Trump administration sees exactly what DP World and the UAE sees here in terms of its positioning, the military capabilities, the access into the seas without disruption of the Gulf of Aden. What's on the table here, if you can share where we are today with global recognition for statehood?
Well, regarding the current situation of the whole world, Somaliland is located in a very strategic location. It has 850 kilometers of seashore in the Gulf of Aden. Somaliland, Berbera, both the port and the airport has been used previously during the Cold War. One is by Russians and one is by Americans. So you can understand the strategic location of Berbera. Somaliland, as a country, it became independent on 26 June 1960. But unfortunately, it has chosen to give up its sovereignty to find Greater Somalia and join it with Somalia, who got its independence 5 days later, on 1st July 1960. And again, Somaliland has regained it or reclaimed its independence on 18 May 1991. But until 1991, it has not been recognized officially by most of the countries. But all the countries in the world have been dealing with Somaliland as a separate entity. Somaliland is a country, is a democratic nation, which holds elections and gives a transfer of power in a democratic way.
Yeah, peaceful transition, actually.
Yes.
I was asking something. We have limited time. What's going to be the result of this recognition by President Trump? Does it jumpstart global official recognition as a country, in your view, sir?
Regarding our democratic administrative system, we expect everywhere from the international community. We have all good relations with the United States, with Great Britain and other countries, but now we hope that the United States may be the first country to recognize Somaliland.
That would jumpstart the whole process, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we sat 3 weeks ago in Davos for the DP World Global Trade Outlook 2025, and you said something very prescient at the time. You said these moves by President Trump on trade, even with allies like Canada and Mexico,
Yes.
the European Union, they're supposed to be close friends, but the tariffs have moved forward in a big way. But you said something then, that he's desiring fair trade, not protectionist policies.
Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you still believe that? Is the case? I know even the UAE with its aluminium exports are quite concerned.
Well, for Trump, he is looking for fair trade. Fair trade, not free trade. Fair trade, in his mind, and he said it many times, is if American market is open, then he expects other countries to open their market. China's market has to be open for American products. This is the crucial thing for him. Now, with Trump, I've been following him for a long time. It is not what he says. So when you listen to him, his announcement, look at what he does, not what he says. When he said, for example, about Canada, I'm going to put a tariff. And then deliberately he will threaten so that he can go back and negotiate a deal. He's a businessman. He wants to make a deal. He wants people to come to the table to discuss. So with the Canadian, he asked them to do something. They fulfilled it. With the Mexican, it's all held. It's not going to be applicable. I think even with China, there'll be threats of retaliatory tariffs, but eventually the goal from him is not to fight, is not to sit on the table and discuss. So sometimes he comes with a very tough announcement, but what he wants is the people who listen to it to come and sit on the table to negotiate. At the end of the day, he wants to negotiate a deal.
Good. It's not going to be calamitous and push the U.S. into a recession, in your view?
I don't know about recession, but I don't believe that he wants to stop trade. He wants fair treatment to American products. He wants things, you know, when you talk about Panama, for example, you know, he wants to come with a deal with the Panamanian. Basically, that gives him something to say, I want the agreement.
Good. Mr. President, any final thoughts as we conclude? Because there's also a potential for the military commanders to come into Somaliland as well, right?
Hopefully, that relationship will continue and develop. And I thank the whole forum, and I thank the organizer of the event for inviting me here. Thank you very much.